When a former teacher, Armando, moves back to his hometown to reunite with his young son, after fleeing from a hidden past at a time of great political unrest in Brazil, as the people exist under the looming shadow of a military dictatorship in 1977, what Armando thinks will be a peaceful sanctuary turns out to be more dangerous than he could have imagined, the target of a cat-and-mouse pursuit of life and death, and unable to trust anyone around him. The stakes stay high for Armando, played by actor WAGNER MOURA in Kleber Mendonca Filho's political thriller, The Secret Agent.
Essa é a pessoa.
Eu quero buraco na boca. O teu caso é o que eu mais quero resolver.
Tem matador me procurando? É isso que você está dizendo?
Tem.
Brazilian star WAGNER MOURA, famous for his haunting portrayal of Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar in the Netflix hit series Narcos, as well as serving as one of the producers of the film, plays the protagonist Armando, a father existing precariously in a Brazil that is rife with corruption and political violence. Inspired by Brazil's history of a military dictatorship, The Secret Agent serves as a reflection of a past that has been in some ways imitated in the present for both Wagner and director Kleber Mendonca Filho. Wagner's masterful portrayal of the realism, tension, and poignance of Armando also justly earned him the prize for Best Actor at this year's Cannes Film Festival.
Judita da Silva arrives to play Nigeria. My first question is for Wagner. In this film, your character goes through circumstances that are fraught with danger and uncertainty and suspense. And you convey all of that through your performance, but you do it in a way that's so grounded in realism that it never feels like he's remarkable, but he never feels like he's incapable. It's just right there in the middle where he's just real, so he doesn't feel like he's Rambo or John McClane. So I just wondered, how did you establish that realism and that measure to the performance?
I think Kleber set up that tone in the script already. I think this film comes from a moment in Brazil from 2018 to 2022, where we were both very vocal against Bolsonaro's government. And so the idea of a man that was just trying to stick with his values when everything around him was saying the opposite, I think it's something that we both somehow lived in Brazil. And in this case, I myself, Wagner, I try to bring myself to the characters that I play, and I usually react to injustices in a very explosive way. And this is something that in some of the other things that I've done before. Yeah. I think that this character is sort of like a mix between myself and Kleber has a lower temperature in the way he deals with things. And also too, this character is hidden. He has to hide. He has to protect his kid. He can't call attention to himself. So everything really needed to be very internalized. So I think that's how we navigated this. And Kleber was always very clear since the beginning that was the tone that he wanted for the character. For instance, he was, first thing that he said to me, he said, I don't want him to pack a gun ever. You know, he has to be, so you can even talk about that because you...
Você acha que você devia estar aqui mesmo? Pra poder levar meu filho. Olha, é uma sacanagem, grau.
Agora você tem que estar sexta-feira cedinho lá.
Que ele é Armando?
Não. O nome dele é Marcelo.
Armando? Armando?
Se fosse você, me escafedia.
É por isso que tem que defender o que tem ainda. Tu e o meu neto.
Kleber Mendonca Filho is the director, writer, and co-producer of The Secret Agent. While the film deals with difficult and problematic aspects of Brazil's past, Kleber paints that picture in a way that showcases and surprisingly celebrates the vibrance, passion, and tenacity of the Brazilian people, with a colorful collection of characters that are crafted with humor, wit, intensity, and relevance. Kleber's own professional background as a former film critic may have played a part in the clarity of purpose infused into every character that plays a part in Armando's story, which makes for a pointed and captivating movie. And in addition to Wagner's acting in the role of Armando, Kleber's directing was also recognized at this year's Cannes Film Festival, when he was awarded the prize for Best Director.
For Kleber, I wanted to ask that when I watched this film, even though it's long, I just thought to myself that it's super tight. The execution is so disciplined because you never lose focus on context, so the meaning or the purpose of the film, or like time in the sense of temporality or even the era. And then I found out that you used to be a film critic. And we know that the greatest era in filmmaking was started by a group of French film critics at Cahiers du Cinéma. Yeah. So do you think your abilities as a critic inform your abilities as a filmmaker that way? You never lose focus on the purpose of the film in favor of focus on the artistry of filmmaking?
And I think your question is absolutely fascinating, and it's a fair question, but it's almost scientifically impossible for me to answer, because would someone who worked 7 years in a library be a better writer? I believe so, but I could never prove scientifically or mathematically. I love films. I was very lucky that even at the time when I was beginning and I barely made any money, I was always working with or around cinema. You know, I started writing in very young for a newspaper, and then I began to make my short films. So I always had different sides of my body, brain, working in different ways in cinema. Programming films is something that I still do. I still have a day job. So to make a film work, I mean, you can be someone who basically loves cinema and tries to make your films. I imagine that my life experience has given me the chops to make films, but I could never really pinpoint how and why and what at some point, you know. But it's something that I often think about, and your question is very on the point, I think.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much.
It was good talking to you. Thank you.
You too. Take care.
This award season continues hot on the heels of a history-making year for Brazilian film, when director Walter Salles won Brazil's first ever Oscar for Best International Film for his political drama I'm Still Here, following actress Fernanda Torres winning a Golden Globe for Best Actress for the same film, which, like The Secret Agent, dealt with the political corruption rife within Brazil in the 1970s. And with both WAGNER MOURA's and Kleber Mendonca Filho's success at Cannes, and the praise the film has continued to get from critics and audiences alike, Brazil followed suit by selecting The Secret Agent as their official submission for the Oscars.
Você não sabe com quem você está se metendo, rapaz.
Hombre dirá que Brasil melhor, com menos pirraça.
Desse cara, eu matava ele com um martelo.
Tu anda armado?
Não, mas eu sei usar um martelo.